That's right. Here we go. Welcome. I am excited to be here. Always excited. Always excited to be here. Maybe too excited to be here. Here we go, talking to the camera. Who knows who's listening? You want to know something? When I got started doing this thing, didn't even matter. Really didn't even make a difference. And that is one of the things that I learned yesterday here at the HIA trade show by attending that trade show is the fact that there are so many people that are just super excited about what it is that they are doing or what it is that they want to do. And that was the coolest thing there too. Yesterday also is that I ran into so many of our younger generation. And one woman even told me that I'm a YouTube star. She was in her 20s. So my guess, she knows what she's talking about. So, hey, thank you to that one. This woman really wants to get into radio, thinks it's fantastic, spoke with our friends over at JVC Broadcasting. You know something? I think she'll be able to find something there or one of the other stations as that goes along. Because radio, and I think the whole media side of life is like super exciting. It changes so much. There's so many different ways to go out there and accomplish something. And doing a radio show, which then becomes like an internet show, great. Maybe podcast, maybe just doing audio. Spoke to our friends over at Odyssey, and he was explaining to me what was going on there. That's good. Connoisseur Radio was down there yesterday too. Yeah, you can see that Facebook photo that I put up with Felice and his friends. So we're waiting to get a little bit more detail on actually the amazing talents that those guys have. Very cool seeing Jay Oliver yesterday, LI News Radio, and his news director was down there too. Great stuff. Kind to him. Really great. He gave Ron Loveland a chance to share his thoughts again about what the manufacturing committee was doing. Ron is the co-chair of the manufacturing committee and what was going on at the trade show and accomplishing everything. So really, really good. I got to tell you, it was just so good. So let's go in a little bit of a recap here as to what happened yesterday as things went. One, I did tell you I was going to bring business cards. I did tell you I was going to bring a notebook. I thought that was something to do. I did mention the LinkedIn nearby. Okay. I did have the business cards, used them, had the notebook with me, tucked into the back of my pants. One, I need to get one of those little notebooks, like the reporter notebooks that you just keep in the inside pocket. That would have been a lot easier. Never used a notebook. In fact, I realized I remembered I had it when I got back in the car to come home. It's like, what's jabbing me? It's like, oh man, forgot about that one. So that's where that one went. LinkedIn nearby, didn't do it. You know what? Something to look into, next time to see if that works. But I think maybe next time though, I'll have a table, and then as part of it, highlight the idea of using LinkedIn next by, because don't I talk a lot about communication skills? Isn't that a form of communication? Absolutely. It's also a form of branding. That's right. I was there with my friend, author, business partner, Arthur Germain, brand storytelling. And, we spoke to a couple of businesses too. And you know what? It's so much about perception, so much. There was a few companies down there that just so got it, also TechWorks. They had a ball. But not only did they have a good time doing it, you could see some of these photos, that are there from the show. You just Google HIA or go to their Facebook page, whatever. You can see that. But they were all set to go, man. They had the sunshine, great outdoors kind of thing. And so, what does that tell you about a company like that? What does that tell you? Does it tell you sitting there, they're all doing all kinds of programming all day long, sitting in a dungeon, just kind of doing that stuff? No, that shows creativity. Absolutely does. Then you have Carmen and Sarah and his company. I tell you, but what came out of his mouth immediately was the different things he's doing within the community. You know what? That's him. That really is him. So if you're a community-minded person, that fits his brand without a doubt. You're a free thinker. And maybe TechWorks is the way to go. I don't know. I can tell you though, both companies are great. Media companies too. You know, some of them are playing just music the whole way through. Okay, I don't know what kind of opportunities are there for that one. Doesn't thrill me. That's not really it. I definitely like the talking side of things. So you know that becomes there. The creativity that goes along with it. Some of the conversations we had on the branding side of it, was the fact that commercials are a part of it. Then it's a matter of where are the commercials placed, and this goes with the conversation with all three of them: news program, music program, or podcast program. Where does it go? Where is it in front of? What's the target market of the show, of the station, or of the stations? Because they all have multiple stations, multiple stations across the board. So anyhow, that side of it was great. All right, what else went on with the whole thing? I'll just put the comments up. Sorry, I forgot to click on that thing there. There we go. Mr. Martinez, good to see you, my friend. And hope all's going well with you. So what happened yesterday? I was called a YouTube star. I might have been the highlight of my day. I think it was the highlight of my day. So this young woman, she wants to get in radio. So I was like, look, I said, let me get it from you. All right. So I'm sitting at home, and I am home, and I'm going to fix the back of this thing, by the way. That's tar paper. Shh. It's roofing tar paper is what I had. Otherwise, I got pink back there. Didn't want to go with the green screen, although I do have a green screen over there they can use, but I want to keep it authentic. All right. And so many of you sales folks, right, continue to talk, oh, you got to be authentic. Absolutely. I agree with you. So there's the authenticity side over there. Green screen could work with some things. And maybe if I blur the background, that'll do it. But whatever. Not the point. So I had a conversation with her, give my information, if we could do, she's looking for an internship at this point in time, still in school. Any of you are looking for an intern, it has to do with media, communicate, well, more media than anything else. Let's just stay focused there. Let me know. We can pass the information along to her, assuming that she reaches back out to me. I gave her my information, not the other way around, that kind of thing. So I asked her, it's like, what is this? What am I doing here? Is this podcast? She's like, oh, yeah, it's a podcast. I said, well, but I use video. She said, well, not really a podcast then, right? It's a vodcast. Seemed that word vodcast didn't fly terribly well. She said, I'm a YouTube star. I'm a YouTube star. So, hey, James, you're going to need to help me out with the YouTube star thing, because I think I'm up to like 14 subscribers on my YouTube page. And I do believe it's also very, a lot of things going on there. So I do need to log into it and really take a look to see what it looks like from an outsider standpoint. Because when I got started with that YouTube page, I was just using it as a dumping ground for various videos. So there's a load of videos on there. It's like a history book as that goes, but definitely need to clean it up, and we'll start promoting that aspect of it, is where you get people subscribing to the YouTube channel as opposed to just a regular Facebook page, doing that whole thing. So that process will begin. We'll certainly begin. Just kidding with, Ron Loveland. And he did a phenomenal job yesterday. Absolutely great. And, about the, what do we do now during the summer? As far as he was concerned, he was coming with that one, is the fact that the manufacturing committee is going to have their manufacturers day, which will actually be more than just a day, but the manufacturing day won't come up until October. Right. And then I do these high school presentations. That's not going to really happen anymore. Not until perhaps October or so, when school gets started again. And I'll say, so what are we going to do? Well, I know what I'm doing in August. We're back on the microphone with our friends out east over at Calverton, doing the, the drag race and stuff. Certainly want to be a part of that, continue to be a part of that. But maybe it really is a refocus on cleaning everything up this summer. This way we're really getting set to go. So when my sales coach friend, the Tim Healy, says, all right, are you ready for the third and fourth quarters of the year? I get to say, yes, definitely be focused in on the fourth quarter, to make everything happen and get a real solid go when it comes to 2023. And I can't believe I just used the word 2023. Here we are in the middle of 22. All right, let's go with the other folks over at the trade show. Besides that young lady who was looking to get into radio, there was many students there, and a lot more than I thought were going to be there too. It seemed like a lot of the schools. Well, I know they all got the message, but a lot of schools did did coordinate field trips that were over to the trade show, which was absolutely great. Really was. What Ron and the manufacturing committee did is they had two presentations that day, multitude of presenters. Really, it was like a lot of little mini panel discussions that took place on the whole thing. So it was great, really was terrific information that was there. It was I got to learn a lot more about how the schools and the business community are working with each other, really truly working with each other, not letting the schools do their thing just alone without getting input. You're getting a lot of input from the companies. This when the students come out, they at least have a basic knowledge of what the needs are of the businesses, not just job description stuff. I know how to read a blueprint, but I know how to read a blueprint and act on it within whatever that industry would be. So it's really definitely cool. Uh, Really great stuff. And I do look forward to actually learning a little bit more about that, as we go on. So I could talk a bit more specific about what's going on between the schools and some of those exciting careers that are out there, and some of those exciting things that these manufacturers are doing that wind up in some exciting places. And yes, not right now, but yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot to do in that area. That should be a lot of fun to explore as we continue to move further along into 2022, 23, and who knows where that whole thing goes. But those students were there, and I listened in on a couple of the conversations. There was one in particular with Thoreau Metals that was there, and David Thoreau. I missed seeing you yesterday. Really wanted to say hello. Didn't get the chance to do that, but I was listening in on that conversation, and they were talking with one of the. I'm going to say teacher. I don't know the exact title. I got the card here someplace. That was at an electrical company talking to a metals company, and they're like, "Oh, what's the connection on the two?" And there actually was quite a bit of a connection. Here we go. This was Robert McLaughlin. He was the assistant director. It was Electrical and HVAC Training Center, located over in Copiague, that was there, and he was talking to them. I can tell you something. We talk about metal and Thoreau metal, and they make and they make all kinds of metal pieces, and they definitely want the creative aspect of it. But somebody actually has to work on those machines that makes the metal, and run that side of it, program them. So there was a load of a very big symbiotic relationship with so many of these companies that may not be direct of the product that they're selling, but the making of the product that they're selling and the creation of the machinery that makes the product that gets sold. It's great. It really is great. And I will honestly tell you, it was so above my head. I was I'm just sat there, and I didn't ask questions. It wasn't my place to ask questions. I'm just kind of listening in. I did speak to Robert afterwards. I was like, it's like, and I basically told him, it's like, I have no idea what was just said over there, other than your students know a ton more than I do, which is fine. They're going down that path from a career standpoint. I know Thoreau Metals, great company located in Brentwood, and their facilities in Copiague, so it's talk real close, in that respect. And the career potentials are unbelievable. They really are, from what I heard. And I'm not telling you, I'm not saying that they are. They are saying that they are. And this happened with so many of the companies that were presenting too. You know, it was, really one company after another about you go into high school, perhaps there's a vocational program in there that you're getting started with. You understand that you really like that industry. the production side of it, working with your hands. You wind up over at BOCES. You're in BOCES now. You're really learning exactly what you need to learn or need to know from a beginning standpoint. And then you're meeting with these companies that are then guiding BOCES and working closely with BOCES on the programs. And not only that, they're coming in and speaking to you. Let me tell you something. How easy of it is for a career path when you're doing what you like to do in high school, finding out it's something you're excited about, getting into a BOCES program, and then working with the companies or getting to know the companies that are potentially going to hire you. And if you are really authentic and you really enjoy doing what you're doing and you're successfully doing that class and making those products and doing that process, what do you think your career possibilities are? It's great. And I'm not talking about job possibilities here. I'm talking about career possibilities, which was another thing that was discussed. Starting salaries. Does it make sense to take a slightly higher starting salary at a job and a lower salary or a lower hourly wage than you would get at a company that's going to potentially hire you or get from it? You would get as an intern if it's a paid internship, or even if it's just a starting salary, but you got a potential lifelong career at that company and it's the right personality for you. That's a big deal. I absolutely tell you it's a big deal. And it has to be a big deal from the company standpoint down too. Two of the companies that presented on that panel discussion are both third generation companies. And there's huge smiles that came across on that too. Third generation companies. Do you think they want to hire the right people to represent their company, either in the shop, with a client, talking to a prospect, interacting in the community? Yeah, that's the PR side of life, my friends. Because they, and look, there was a lot of employees at these companies. It wasn't just a family member showing up at the trade show yesterday to be on that panel. They were representatives of those companies. They were the representatives of those schools. They are the brand of those places. Gosh, the woman from Farmingdale, I probably have her name too. Wish we recorded this one, James. Wish we recorded it. She was, there it is, Renee Varghese. And she was executive director at Nexus Center for Applied Learning and Career Development. You know what I mean? Well, you speak to her exactly what she does. But boy, oh boy, when she gave her presentation, she was talking enthusiastically, as many of the others were. Woo! It was great. It was just great to see that. And if that enthusiasm is with the students and the students when it comes to job applicants, career applicants at these companies, just absolutely great. So it was just really great. So really glad I got the ability at the time to be a part of that whole thing. Did that program at Scott Possessive with Ron. It was great. Learned a little bit more about Ron's background. His bio is a lot more extensive than I even knew. I just kind of knew from the manufacturing side with his current company, his background too. So thank you, Ron, for your service. And he had a chance to chat with Jay Oliver also from LNU's JVC. So we'll get that recording up when that becomes available also. Now, let's talk about Tuesday's event over at the temple at the Village Chabbad. You see, it's great. It's absolutely phenomenal. If your student, if those students that we speak to when they're 10, 11, 12 years old know what they want to do. Wow, is that great? It's phenomenal if we speak to those students when they're 10, 11, and 12 years old and help them really identify exactly what they can be doing, maybe what clubs to be involved with or what to do in their free time or how to put this stuff up on LinkedIn or someplace where they have a living, absolutely living resume as they continue on through their teenage years. All right, when was the last time you did your resume? You did your resume. is when you first started looking for a job. But if they start doing that resume, track those things that they do that they're naturally doing throughout their teenage years, now they're really truly on a path to go and work through high school and start some program and then get into one of these BOCES programs with some other technical school, or even if they go straight to college, or business, they're going for a specific reason. That's a clear path. That's a beautiful thing. Does not happen all the time, does it? That's what Tuesday's thing is all about. That's what Tuesday's event is all about. Because sometimes stuff happens. Sometimes stuff happens that's not in your control. Sometimes stuff happens that is in your control. This story on Tuesday, I think, is stuff that happened that was in his control. But look, people get hit with a chronic illness. What do you do with it? What do you do with it? How do you work through it? How do you work around it? What do you do? How do you manage it? What are you still capable of doing? There are certain people that just kind of barge right on through and continue to do what they should be doing. It's great. Just great to see that. Others have made some little mistakes or have been in some accident or something like that. It's like, it's an accident. Still got to deal with it. Still got to work through, and you go. You do. Those things happen. But our friend, who is going to be giving a presentation, I just want to bring this one back up again. I'm gonna make this a little bit big. I'm gonna take me. Let's go with here. I'll make me small. There we go. Our friend that's going to be speaking June 2nd over at the Village Chabbad, and this is open to everybody. This is an open to everybody thing. This is not a religious event, even though it's over at the shul. This is a Jewish, not religious. There are things that happen over there that, prayer services, obviously, and there's the Jewish Learning Institute, definitely geared to the Jewish community. Whatever level of Jewishness you are, it is, but that's different. This one, not. This one, yes. Obviously, there would be a Jewish flair to this thing, but not so much as a religious one. This fine gentleman, and I'll use the word fine gentleman right now, Rabbi Mati Flickstein, was took an interesting path as he became a rabbi. He had a path that never in a million years, I think, and I don't know him. I haven't had the chance to meet him, but I certainly will June 2nd, and I invite you to come along on that one. But he got involved doing some stuff that was not good. The drugs and all the rest of that were a big time part of his life. And then you got to think, how does he go from that to becoming a rabbi? Well, I'm sure there are many others in different religions that have seen the light also. They've been dragged through the dirt. They've made mistakes, maybe had other things happen to them, even been to prison. I remember, I think it's a Rosie career, I think, is also has gone and completely involved in the church at this point in time. They had interesting path along the way. Many people have had interesting paths along the way, and they have found what has helped them overcome problems, obstacles, that they've faced. So it'd be really interesting to hear this one as this story progresses. It's an inspiring one, without a doubt. But taking a little bit of a look back on some of these things, he happens to be very good friends with one of the rabbis over at the shul, Rabbi Madi, who's not that Rabbi Madi, another Rabbi Madi, Rabbi Madi Grossbaum, who good friend of mine. I'm very happy to say, and it would be great. It would really be great to see a lot of folks down there for that one. To really understand that challenges happen. They just do. There's so many things that get thrown in our face, and it's not so much as what the challenge is. It's what do we do with it? How do we work our way through that whole thing? How do we go from point A to point B? And I can tell you, I am not the expert in that category. Working through different things, man, it's so easy to get unbelievably frustrated. It's so easy to go, oh, man, just like, why am I doing this? A lot of why am I doing this, kind of thing. Yeah, you should enjoy the journey without a doubt. Once you get a little bit more focused, Once you know which way you want to go, and that had to have happened over here. But once you know which way you want to go and know what you want to do, then I think it becomes perfectly clear. And then you just continue on. It's another gentleman I ran across with that one. Didn't become a rabbi. He did become an auto shop owner. I can tell you, with speaking with him, it was incredible the amount of enthusiasm that he had. And he also had some issues that came up. And I'm gonna let him tell his story. I'm gonna let Rabbi Marty over here tell his story also. But he went from challenges, but he then went back to what it was that he really enjoyed doing, and that was working on cars. He knew he wanted to do that, just got distracted along the way. And now he owns a nice facility. He owns a 10,000 square foot facility. And the last photo that he put up over there is that the place is filled with cars that he's working on. So kudos to him on that one, to really making it happen. And I know he wants to share his story. So we'll have him on, to let him say what's going on there. But here's my last thought with it. We got a couple of minutes, and yeah, I would love to see this happen over here. I absolutely love the idea that the Village Chabbad is doing these presentations. They have them every so often, where they have people come in that are Jewish, so there is that aspect of it. But they've all had these things that they've worked through, and it was the last Jewish gangster, which that was an interesting presentation. He spoke about that. It was a it was an interesting one he was doing. It was the slot machines that he was making money on. We'll put it that way. There was another gentleman that was involved with the September 11th. His story that went along with it. Another gentleman who was a Holocaust survivor. That one was a real serious one. Appropriate to everybody? Yeah, it really was. Because one of the things that really struck me in that one, was the fact that his attitude while he was in the while he was in the camps, and how that helped him survive it. That sense of humor. Can't imagine that. The sense of humor. Was he angry? Yeah, absolutely. Did he do what he needed to do to survive? Yeah. Was he so angry and wanted to deliver so much of a message that he wrote a book, specifically his story? Yeah, absolutely was. And it's not a good story, but he wanted to deliver it, and he did. And these are the kind of presentations that takes place over there. The rabbi over here with his story, is it a good story in the beginning? No. Is it a positive one in the end? Yes. Yes. And with so many folks that I've gotten to know, they've started their own businesses. They became really successful. Why? Because they've failed or had some challenge that they've had to go through at some point in time. And then they've become superstars, really rock stars, motivational speakers, leaders, willing to bend over backwards to help other people along the way. Why? Keep asking why. A lot of folks wind up in careers that they didn't expect to. It's great when you do, but a lot of folks don't. And then they become true inspirational leaders. And maybe that's why they start their own companies, because they want to help others along the way to achieve their own level of success. And that's a story I love sharing. And those people that could share those stories, that want to share those stories, absolutely on board with that one. And that's where that's at. So I do hope you join us on June 2nd. So that's 7 p.m. It's in person. It's in Eastern. It's out here on Long Island. It's in Stony Brook, uh, basically right by Stony Brook University. It's on Nichols Road, easy enough to get to. So it's June 2nd, 7 p.m. He's going to be featuring, ready for this one, rap and poetry from his acclaimed album, Coming Home. And there will be food involved over here. Yes, salads, seltzers, and spirits. That is a yellow print, little tough to read, but you like the food. I've got to tell you too. You'd be surprised, man, how good the food is on these things. You're gonna like it. If you're coming for food to eat, well, that's not really the purpose of the whole thing. If you're coming to hear an inspirational story, without a doubt. If you're coming to meet some other people that love those inspirational stories, you know something to be said for that one. I'll see you on the second, and then if you want, see you on the first also, right? Yeah, the food incubator. Didn't want to leave that one out. That's from 2 to 4 p.m. Food incubator at Stony Brook University. That's another little thing out there. I'll give you a report on that when it gets done. All right, there we go. We're all set. Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to our men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice. That's what this Memorial Day weekend is about. There'll be parades, there'll be barbecues, there'll be a whole lot of things, but that's what it's about. Pay some respect on that one there, too. All right, till Tuesday. We'll be back on Tuesday. Speak well, speak often, live inspired.